welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts.
Hello.
Now, we do have a dog who is happily snoring away. We'll try to talk over him. So today we went hunting for a YouTube channel that I have been interacting with on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. There's been some conversation the last few days about how a lot of people are going, everything is a demon, a demon, a demon, a demon. And some of the more professional investigators have basically got their knickers in a twist over the amount of new up-and-coming wannabe investigators, for lack of a better term. And when I say wannabe investigators, I mean people who think that because they've seen it on TV, they know what they're doing, and they're just going to go ahead and do it. Sometimes that's okay, sometimes it's not. But that gets into...
Most of the time it's not.
Yeah, but...
Just say it like it is.
But, you know, the whole thing is they see these professional investigators calling everything a demon. Don't you roll your eyes at me.
Not every...
I know.
Nobody does that. It's one person who does
look,
that.
I'm trying to be neutral.
No.
I'm trying to be neutral.
No.
Okay, so we do know that there is a program out there that they focus on demons.
Zach Biggin.
And everybody seems to think, every newbie seems to think that that's what it's all about, but it isn't. Anyway, so there had been this conversation between several of us on X about this, and so I came across this one particular person, and I came across their account via Blood Moon Paranormal, who we reviewed a couple of weeks back, and whom I'm following and now interacting with on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. These people made a comment in that whole conversation, and so I really liked what I was seeing. And so today we went, this is a big long story to get there. So today we went hunting for the channel and found it. So there is several videos. We ended up choosing one of the shorter ones to start with, and then we could have just easily have watched one of the longer ones because we ended up watching part 1 and part 2, which turned into over an hour. But anyway, this is Wulf Paranormal, and the fellow from Wulf, his name is Evan, and he is investigating with a friend of his named Mike, and Mike is from Charmed Paranormal or something. I missed that. I'm sorry, Mike. I'll have to go back and check it because now I want to check your channel too. Anyway, this particular episode was at the Velasca Axe Murder House. And before we get started, I would like to comment on the actual production. This is probably the best production by someone not on television that I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I thought we were watching something made for TV. That's how good it was put together. So, Evan, you did a fantastic job.
Or Mike. Or whoever.
Well, this is Wulf, so I'm going to say it's Evan.
No.
It was a fantastic job. The transitions were smooth. The captions were great. It was just very well done.
And
very well done.
I really liked the way he explained things that happened during the filming of it.
Yeah. They stopped and had their little bits where they would speak to the camera, like you see in some of the major productions. And he was explaining what an Estes method was and some of the equipment, and it was yes, that's what we want to see. Yeah. That's what we want to see.
So I like the fonts.
Yeah, I didn't like the fonts so much, but you liked them because they were big and easy to see. Because you're blind as a bat.
I'm old.
But you know what? That was one of the minor things that I could overlook. I didn't like it was like sort of like drippy horror font, and I didn't like that so much. But it's okay. He's okay. So they started off with Johnny, the caretaker / I don't know. I think he's the caretaker or owner or whatever.
Well, he's the caretaker, but he's also
he's really involved in this place.
Well, yeah.
The history we got this time was even more than we'd ever heard before.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is a testament to their interview skills, or if they just wanted to let him talk and they didn't edit out stuff that wasn't relevant this time. But we learned things that we'd never heard before.
Yeah. And, Johnny's been around forever.
He knows this location extremely well.
And I think he cares about the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And about the people who come investigate. So, hats off to Johnny.
One of the stories that I'd never heard before was there was a paranormal investigator who stayed in the Blue Room, which is the room where the 2 Stillinger girls were murdered in. And he stabbed himself in the chest. He nearly died.
He did die a couple of times in the chopper.
Yeah, but he's not dead.
No.
Died. Anyway, he said that he'd heard something or saw a light or something come out of the closet.
Yeah.
And the next thing he knew, he was waking up in the hospital with no memory of what happened. Yeah. So probably that's just as well. But Johnny said that he doesn't recommend anybody do solo vigils. He always recommends people stay together for safety's sake. Yeah. Buddy up, yeah. So that was really interesting to hear. I hadn't heard anything like that before.
And another one, because it's creepier than hell, the one girl was raped.
Possibly.
And I would believe that, because, seeing that little turd's face, you can see it. He's got pedophile written all over his face.
Who?
The guy who murdered him.
We don't know who murdered him, though.
Oh,
we don't know. No one was convicted.
Yeah.
Now, when Bruce was talking about that, that was something that Evan was talking about later on, was he'd heard that Lena was the only one who had any defensive wounds on her. So she had wounds across her forearms where she was fending off, I guess, the attack.
And her panties are right across the room.
Her panties were on the other side of the room, so there is some suspicion that she was sexually assaulted as well. You got to wonder if... these Stillinger girls were obviously not going to be there. They weren't supposed to be there, so were... they just afterthought and he saw her and went, ooh, or did he know they were there and that's the target in the first place? It's kind of interesting.
I've said that before, and I think I'm going to stand by that, and I think if he didn't kill the girls, their parents, their father did.
It's hard to know. It's such a horrible thing. So through the course of this investigation, first of all, there was great tagging.
Oh, yeah.
The air conditioner clicked on while Johnny was talking. And so they, marked that. So little things like that, which was really good. I really liked the tagging that was going on. I wasn't hearing all the disembodied voices that they claim to have heard. Now, that's not uncommon. Just because we don't hear it on camera doesn't mean that they didn't hear it. Yeah. There were some that we could... there was a few that I could sort of hear. I could pick out the syllables. I couldn't quite make out the words, and there were some that I could. So those were really good. I was impressed with the amount of disembodied voices. This place is a crazy place. Whenever you're involved in an intense investigation, and it's intense, like these boys did.
Yeah.
And I say boys because, my God, they're younger than I thought.
Everybody's younger than we thought.
I know. But in the interactions on Twitter, really, I thought he seemed older. He seems very mature. And that's good. But anyway, so obviously seasoned investigators, they knew when it was time to step outside, get some fresh air, and cleanse.
Yeah.
And they did that several times throughout the night.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important to know your limits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of spirit box sessions, lots of really good stuff.
Yeah.
One thing that struck me was one comment that came out of the spirit box. I saved their soul.
Yeah.
That's flippin' creepy.
Yeah. And that's something that the preacher would say.
Yeah. Yeah. The one that confessed and then recanted.
Because he was a loon.
Yeah. You gotta wonder. Wasn't there a Holzer file on the house at the other end with the train?
No, that was...
that was Holzer files.
No.
Because Shane was there in the thing under the tunnel thing.
No, that's another...
That's a different one?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah. Wow.
I digress. Okay, I thought that was the same one where they had the train thing where it could have been the guy on the train going back and forth.
No. That's another in place.
Okay. Well, I don't think I'm wrong, but that's okay.
You're wrong.
But in the course of this conversation, we could hear a train whistle. So there's train tracks close by.
It's train. Everybody hears the train.
I'm just saying, I heard the train. So there was a train. Anyway, while they were doing part of one of the spirit box sessions, one of the things that came over was these beeped out words that were just marked out so you couldn't see. And Evan says that what was beeped out was a deceased friend's name. This friend had just died a couple days before that program. And how could this ghost have known? Ghosts don't typically know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not ghosts.
Well,
demons know that kind of stuff.
Like I said, that place has been bombarded with, Ouija boards and seances and
investigations after investigations after investigations. Yeah. I mean, the activity in that house.
It's gonna bring up so many things and you're gonna get a demon,
Eventually, I would think.
Yeah.
Now, they did say that, or Johnny figures that whatever caused the man to murder those people, whatever influenced him probably was there long before the house was there.
Yeah.
And that is very possible. Kind of scary, but possible. Yeah. Just like when Zach Bagans, speaking of Zach Bagans, tore down that house in Utah? No. Wherever that was. Indiana. The demon house. You'd think the demon that was haunting that place doesn't just vanish because the house is gone. No. Where has he gone now? Or is he still on that land waiting for the next house? Creepy. Creepy as hell. I wouldn't want to build a house on that property. No way. No. Anyway, back to Wulf Paranormal and the Villisca Axe Murder House. So that was the end of that episode. And because we were enjoying it so much, we said, well, we're going to watch part 2. I was incredibly impressed with the recap of part 1.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen.
No, it never happens. Not like that. You might get a few words, but you don't get a really good, solid recap. Yeah. And this really was. Yeah. They showed some clips. They talked, he talked about it, and it was a good recap. If we hadn't seen, say, had been a week past between, we would have been caught right back up again. Okay, ready to go. It was good.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, one of the things that we liked was they were explaining some of the things as they were going, such as the Estes method, which you see it all the time. I mean, you've seen it in the professional shows, all the way down to some of these YouTube shows, and people are putting on the headphones and the blindfolds. I'm getting all excited. The blindfolds, and they're doing the thing, answering the questions, and they don't explain what they're doing. They're just saying, we're going to do that. I've heard it called a couple of things now, but the Estes method is the one that sticks out the most. But you'd say, oh, let's do the Estes method. What the heck is that? Well, these guys tell you what it is and what they're going to do. So that was really impressive. Yeah. So Ethan was upstairs in the attic where that guy was hiding out, they figure, prior to killing all these people. So he had on the noise-canceling headphones, and I don't think he was wearing a blindfold. I don't think, I'm hearing this sitting in the dark with headphones. I don't think you need a blindfold. Yeah. And Michael was on the other level in the kids' room. Yeah. Where 4 of the children were murdered. There was a disembodied voice that said, I will take your life. Now, you said that you heard the same one in a Project Fear video.
Yes, I did. Yeah. There's, similar things that, and you just remember because,
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
But I'm not doubting it because sometimes, like you say, you sometimes remember things.
When he said, I heard a bell. I heard a ting, like just a ting, and I showed the toy with the xylophone. That was the same sound I heard.
Could have been, rather than the bells from like the little tambourine thing. Yeah. Could have been the xylophone.
That's what I heard.
Could have been, yeah. Yeah.
So, Ethan, that's what I heard.
So the next bit, then they go to the blue room. Now that's where the Stillinger girls were murdered. And I wonder if the blue room, because there's a bed in there and a dresser and everything, I wonder if that was one of maybe the oldest kids' room, and then they were just all up in the other room because of the kids staying over. Yeah. That would kind of make sense, eh? And Evan comes on and has his little spiel where he's speaking, and he says, this is the only time the camera has glitched the entire episode and the entire time he's ever used these cameras. They've never had these glitches before. And he said, and I liked this, he can't say with certainty that it was paranormal because he doesn't know. But this is the only time that it's ever happened. And then you see the video, and the camera is kind of glitching out a couple of times here and there. So that was good to hear him explaining what happened, and that he's not counting it as paranormal just camera, because.
The camera or,
And the other thing that I liked was he doesn't always consider orbs to be, everything's an orb. Yeah. So he does actually take things in context. I don't believe everything is an orb either, but I do believe that they do happen. One thing that we saw that nobody commented on was at the very beginning when Johnny was talking, while they were in the blue room, that little bit of something. Now, I don't think it was a bug or anything. No, it looked to me like it could have been
an orb.
Well, it was an orb. It was more like ectoplasm kind of stuff. It was clearly white and had some funky shape to it, and it was moving down. Yeah. So it was something.
At the church.
I've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it before. So it was at the very beginning, and nobody commented on it. So that was interesting. Michael, while they were in the blue room, Michael was standing there, and he was very calm as he was starting to comment on how he felt something pressing up against his left side. Yeah. I was really impressed. There was no yelling, screaming, and running. Yeah. After a little while, they were getting a little bit excited, and some language did come out, but not very often. And they were pretty good most of the time. But he kept feeling that something was pressing against his left side. And then Evan said that he saw 4 little fingers come around the hip, 4 little white fingers. And he did say that it didn't translate to the camera, and nothing doesn't always translate to the camera. But he saw that with his eyes. So that was something. And then after that, they went outside to cleanse because things were getting a little heated in there. Then what happened after that? Let's see. They came back inside. They were in, I think, the living room where that cast iron potbelly stove was.
Yeah, and because they had it on the cast iron.
The EMF detector,
and it went off.
A lot.
They said, well, is it plugged in? So they opened it up,
There's a heater inside.
There's a heater inside. So
an electrical heater, yeah.
So they wondered if it was plugged in. It wasn't plugged in.
The cord was right inside with it.
Instead of just saying no, he got right up there and
swept it. Yeah. He was debunking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he held it in his hand. I really like this. Yeah. Held it in his hand and asked whatever it was that set it off, can you do it again? And it did.
Yeah. As I'm holding it.
As he was holding it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just sitting on top of the cast iron, maybe using that metal as a conductor. I mean, cast iron doesn't conduct. Yeah. But, just for the sake of debunking. So that was cool. I really was impressed that they took the diligence to open the stove and make sure that it wasn't plugged in.
Find out it's not wood.
And clearly, they did say there's no electricity in that building. Well, there obviously is if the air conditioners work. So there is electricity.
And the lights.
And in the lights. So there is electricity. It's just a matter of if things are plugged in or not. So that was good because, we've commented on things in the past that we've watched just recently. The one the other day where there's no debunking. You just take it as gospel. No, debunk. Yeah. You have to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And these two clearly do.
Yeah. And, they just, nothing is a demon. They didn't say demon once.
No, I don't think they did. But they got it on the EVP.
Yeah. I was going to say that. But he never commented on it. No. And I really appreciate that because, that's got to be it.
It's got to be a demon.
Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you.
And at the very end, they had final thoughts, kind of where they wrapped up their ideas. And I liked that. It was a way to bring it all together. And
put a pin in it for until next time.
Yeah, he wants to go back another time in the future, but not right away because it was pretty traumatic. Yeah. He ended with a warning for anybody else who goes there.
Yeah.
He acknowledged that many people go there over and over and over, which provides fuel for whatever the entity is that's there.
Yeah.
And again, he didn't call it a demon. Whatever the entity is that's there. So giving just a warning to be careful and on your guard if you go to the Villisca Axe Murder House.
Yeah.
I was incredibly impressed with the investigation.
Yeah.
And the production, how well this was put together.
And, and information and history.
Yeah.
Of this place that we've seen 100 times.
Yeah, we've seen it so many places, so many investigators go to this place. This was different.
New, and it was refreshing, and
it was a different take on it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So if any of you out there want a really good paranormal program, I strongly recommend Wulf Paranormal.
Yeah, and follow them.
Yeah, we subscribe, so we're going to be watching more, Evan, so keep up the good work.
Yeah.
That's it for us for today.
Yes.
Have a good afternoon, folks.
Good afternoon and happy hunting.
Happy hunting. Bye now.